On a warm September day in Petersburg, Virginia, sailors in crisp white uniforms fire a 21-gun salute as taps echo in the distance.
There's no greater honor than to be able to be a small part of bringing him home.
With grace, respect, and honor. The flag on the casket is removed, folded, and given to the family. But this funeral is more than a burial.
This is more of a happy occasion because this is a homecoming. And this is the completion of this story in our family.
But this homecoming is a story that goes back 75 years, 9 months, and 2 days.
December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor would sink or damage more than a dozen ships and kill 2,403 Americans.
The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air.
The USS Oklahoma is capsized, and on board is 21-year-old William Manley Thompson. Days later, his parents get the official telegram that their son was lost in action in the performance of his duty and in the service of his country.
He was considered he was the fair-haired boy. He was a great athlete. He was a great musician. He was well-liked by everyone.
Thompson was raised in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey. Well-liked and well-respected in the community, he graduates high school in 1937 and majoring in accounting, graduates from the University of North Carolina in June 1941. By September, he is an ensign on board the Oklahoma.
He was a very good son, and he consistently wrote home.
In his last letter home, dated November 23, 1941, he tells his mom he had a wonderful Thanksgiving meal, is considering buying a guitar and possibly a car, and that his ship may be out to sea at Christmas. The attack on Pearl Harbor changes that.
My grandmother never really got over it.
And his death made more painful for the family by the fact his remains couldn't be identified and returned home.
My grandmother, in fact, after Pearl Harbor, she had a plot reserved here for him in the hopes that he would one day be able to come home, that they would identify him and bring him home.
For decades, this footstone in Blandford Cemetery marked that spot. But for future generations,
he's been kept alive in our imaginations.
Then a few years ago, the Navy asked for DNA samples from the family in hopes new technology could finally help identify his remains.
I think it goes back to you're never forgotten.
We've been very impressed that the Navy went to this trouble, this time, this expense, and I think that does send a real message that the country cares about its veterans and its MIAs.
In April of 2017, there is a DNA match.
I don't know exactly how it works, but here we are.
September 8th, 2017, the remains of Ensign William Manley Thompson come home to Virginia soil. Young sailors honoring the fallen hero, and decades later, a new gravestone put in place.
You feel a sense of completion and
justice.
Justice, yeah. And he's finally home. He's with his family now.
While those gathered that day never knew Bill Thompson personally, he has never been forgotten. Family stories and his letters home continue to keep his memory alive.
He was an extraordinary person.
At historic Blandford Cemetery, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.